Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is February 1st, 2022. I can't believe I'm saying that. This is the SOS show with James Lott Jr. I am James Lott Jr., the super organizer. This is my first official show of the year. I've done live recordings recently of different topics like clothing, linens and towels, a bunch of stuff. So now I'm actually back to talking with my fellow organizers who have great knowledge and power. Yes. Let me read her bio, folks. I'll make sure I get this in here because we're spotlighting her today. It says on her website, her official bio, not the unofficial. That's something totally different. This is the official one. She's the owner of Simple Organization. She's also an educator. I know her from that too. More than 15 years. She has a BA in Early Childhood Education from Columbia College and an M.Ed. Yes, folks, she's smart. And Education Administration from Clemson University. But now she has also all kinds of different things that she does within all of that because she's an education advocate, which is very important. Working with students with dyslexia and ADHD and ADD and anxiety and all that kind of stuff, ESL. She's also a member of two highly rated associations, NAPO, the National Association of Productivity and Organization Professionals, and NAPO, the National Association of Black Professional Organizers. My friend, Miss Tiffany Blassingame. How are you?
Sounds great. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
All that's what we're talking about. I'm gonna do my church announcements. This is JLJ Media. I just celebrated last December 12 years in the business as a professional organizer, and this month 13 years as a media person for JLJ Media. So yes, I am a crazy person. I have two companies that are doing very well for me. Thank you very much. But it's because of you out there who actually are watching my longest running show. This is my last 7 years this June. I've been doing this show. And I'm just I went from the radio to other iterations that keeps on going. And I'm so happy to be able to be sitting here with you each week, talking to people about the wonderful world of organization. I love this world. It's very vast and varied. So you can check out all of these. If you're an audio person, hello, audio podcast listener, go to any audio streaming service you want to. From iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever we're there. Or if you want to see our beautiful creamy brown faces, go to YouTube. That is JLJ Media, my online network. I'm one of the few men of color who has one. So support the homie and go ahead and subscribe. It's down here somewhere down there. And subscribe, hit that bell. And there's a whole playlist of wonderful organizers of all backgrounds that I get to feature. I'm very happy to do that. Diversity should be just normal, right, people? And we are in Black History Month, the shortest month of the year. But anyway, we're Black History Month. And so I'm shady. I will always say that for the rest of my life. But to me, I celebrate Black History Month all year long. That's what I do. And Tiffany knows that. So that's my church announcements for today. Have a nice day. Tiffany, yes. But actually, okay, this is a little off. Well, not really off topic. It's my show. I'll do what I want. How do you feel about Black History Month? I mean, I just said what I said. I feel about it, but I'm kind of curious. What do you feel about it?
So I love Black History Month. Well, I love all of the history months. Let's say that, right? Okay. So
because you're an educator, so you also have that whole thing.
Yeah, right. I am not so keen on in schools. Let's have a Black History program. Let's have a Latinx program. Like that should be happening. If it's really in your curriculum and your instruction, that should be happening all the time. Like we don't have to wait until February to now do the projects on Black people. Like if it was yes. If we were doing a unit on biographies, that should already been done because you would have had a mixture of people if you were doing it right. So that is how I feel about Black History Month.
That's why I asked because you're an educator. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm gonna celebrate because of Black History. It just cause.
I know. I asked you because I know because you're also an educator. So you gave a great. That's the answer. I was wondering what you were going to say, and I like that answer. Yeah, no, it's because because really Black history is American history. Mm-hmm. Really, that's what it is. I mean, it's for all Americans should learn it, so we do not repeat it. Some of it.
Great.
and repeat some of the great stuff. So there's both. The other people know, because there are a lot of things I didn't even know about. And this leads into, I can lead this, so I know how to do this. I'm a professional host. Now I can lead this into actual organizing, because I didn't know there were other Black organizers when I first started. Had no idea. Didn't see none, went around none, had no idea when I first started. Those first maybe 5 years, had no idea. And I was going into Black communities where they didn't know what an organizer was. They're like, what that is. So I just want to say for you, so we have the education thing, was last 15 something years you're doing education, but when did organizing come into your orbit?
Well, so I've always been organized. I guess most organizers have.
Yes.
You know, I had a notebook for everything. It was just
Love it.
Stuff was just together. Okay.
Yes.
And I didn't realize that other people weren't like that. So that's number one. Then I went off to college and realized, oh, like this is different. But I started organizing when I first got divorced. Like I started like thinking, oh, like what's another way to make money? And I realized like how much I depended on my organization skills to keep everything going and together. So I was like, oh, like I would like for other people to be able to understand what this is like. And so that's how I kind of got into organizing when I started my business.
Yeah.
But I didn't know there were other Black organizers until somehow I ran across NAPO, and then I went to a chapter meeting, and there were
yeah.
And I was like, oh, 2 Black people. I guess I'm not alone.
More than I saw. So yeah, I'm like, okay, well, that's all. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's basically how I started. But I have since then, I focused more on student organization.
I'm gonna ask a question on that too. We're gonna do that too, because that's very important. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I'm trying to establish time. So you found out organizing. You're like, okay, I'm always been organized. And so the divorce is more about finding your space, finding what's going on for you. Now it's your own identity. Now you're back, you're back out there in the field, so to speak.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like now it's like finding your own space and kind of organizing all that too, right?
Yeah, and routines and systems, to make the morning easier and all of that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But why organizing as a field for you? Because you already have like another career kind of too. Now I see you kind of merge them together. But why for you? Why you chose this career?
I love that process. Yeah. Like I love like touching things and spreading it all out and thinking about categories and how stuff will fit together. I love the outcome, not necessarily of the stuff, but the people and how they will text you later like, oh my gosh, like I've always been looking for this, and like now I always know where it is, or just a look of shock on their face when they see it. And it doesn't have to look like Pinterest. It just needs to have their stuff put in a place where they can remember it. So yeah, I love that, and that's something different than teaching. And on the weekends, like I was teaching during the day, and then organizing mainly on the weekends, and it was just a different way for me to just be out there and touching things, and it's just different.
Yeah, I used to do my thanks and gratitude at the beginning of the show, so I just want to go piggyback off of here. I want to give thanks and gratitude to my grandmothers, who both were very organized. I saw that growing up. Everything was my Creole grandmother, especially. She had the plastic on the couches, the runner that went to the kitchen, like everything was in the curio cabinets. Like you didn't touch that. The living room was not to sit in. The living room was just for the show. That kind of stuff. Very Southern Louisiana. Yeah. So I want to give shout out to them. They both were I learned it from them. So I just want to give my thanks to them. You know what I'm talking about. All right. So when did you come across NAPO then? Because like I didn't know about NAPO until like a few years later after I started.
I don't really know how I found NAPO.
They found you.
I was just like Googling or something and looking at stuff. I think I ran across Geraldine Thomas. I know she's been on your show.
Yes, I love Geraldine.
On Pinterest.
Oh,
that
okay.
somehow led me to maybe,
Hey,
I don't know.
I love that. No, I have you see, you
Remember
never the
something
road.
about Pinterest, and yeah.
I love Jalen Thomas. She's been on my show, folks. You can check out that episode last year. I love the pieces. To do a lot of great stuff too out there on media and everything. So yeah,
And
so
you know what? I remember like going to my first chapter meeting, right? So I went to work, I taught all day, and then people were like, "What you know? Bye, see you later." I'm like, "I'm going to an professional organizing chapter meeting." They were like, "They have that?"
Hey,
Like,
what's that? Like, what's that? Exactly. They don't know what that is. No.
hey, go girl.
And
That's what you want to do.
Exactly. They're like, okay, whatever that means, great.
Right, we're going to get drinks. So you
exactly. I know what they were thinking. I know what they were thinking.
yeah.
I love that. I have several questions from that, but so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start with, when did you realize you could make money from it? From doing this? Were you several years in? Was it immediate? You're like, ooh, and actually this guy, I mean, on the weekend, you said you're an educator, I could make a little extra money. You know right away that this could be something that could grow?
I knew I could make like a little money.
Yeah.
I didn't know. It took me a while to really charge my worth.
That happens.
I
That
ended up
happens.
getting a business coach that really walked me through
Good.
what I could be charging and what that looks like, and how to, how to do the research around, the work that I do. But it took me a minute to get to that place.
Yeah. This is always a very important question everybody's asking everybody, because everybody always wants to know,
Hmm.
how did you find your name? Because Simple Organization, it's a very simple name. Like, you're thinking it's not taken. Like, so I did, like, how did you come with your name?
So I wanted to do like simple organization solutions and be like SOS.
I
Um,
understand. I totally understand that, obviously.
that's what I wanted to do, but I don't know. I started working on the logo, and it was like it's like a pin, and I was like, I just really feel like that's gonna take me somewhere else, especially when I started doing the student organizing, and I was like, oh, that kind of fits
Yeah.
with all these different areas. So
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. I know, because people talk like, how do you get a name? How do you get a name? Then you look up names and like they're taken and whatever.
yeah.
Super Organizer was not taken. I looked out. I did a search and everything.
Uh-huh.
And I lucked out. So I was thinking, your name is such a simple name, ha ha ha. But you think, but it was just brilliant, of course. But just like you're thinking, well, nobody had it already. That's good.
Right. Yeah. I saw a lot of simply organized.
Yes, I know that. I know. Yep.
But not simple
See,
organization.
there you go. The grammar. I like that grammar. Also, you said you got a business coach.
Mm-hmm.
What is one thing? I know you learned many things from there. What is one overall takeaway from having a business coach that was for you?
Stop doing all that stuff. This is exactly how she said it to me. Stop doing all that stuff and do what you know that you do well, that you can make money and do in your sleep. That was exactly. It was a Black business coach.
Okay, I like apparently. I was like,
stop doing all that stuff.
Yeah, just like trim the fat, ladies. Let's say cut it down and stop running in a circle. I've been running in circles, trying to grab everything. I love it. I love it.
Right.
I love it. Was it hard finding a business coach that fit for you, or was she the first pick and it fit?
No, I tried a couple of other ones, just like doing like little free coach calls, like 30 minutes or whatever. But she was the only one that I felt understood what it was like to balance a lot of different things, but still want to give toward your passion. She didn't try to convince me to quit my 9 to 5, and this is the way you gotta build it. This is the model. You got to get on all these social media platforms. She didn't do all that. She was just really focusing on the joy that you have doing business, and how do you get more of that joy every week. Yeah.
I like that. because folks, I say that for you. I'm a life coach also, so I'm a life coach, and I have clients, but I tell them all the time, you have a right to vet your coaches, whether it's a business coach, personal coach, any kind of coach, because you're gonna be working with them. You're gonna be working with them, and some people, their style isn't for you.
Right.
And some people, their style is perfect for you. So it's no big deal. But also, I want people to feel no shame either. If you tried one, it didn't work, and thinking, well, that's it. There's all kinds of coaches out there. So that's what you said. You did have some taste, and then you got this is the one.
Same thing with therapists. Same thing with doctors. Like you just
Organizers.
Organizers, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, seriously, because here, folks, we're in your business. So you have a right to let in who you want in your business. I mean, that's the thing. You have a right to say, I'm letting you in my space, or I'm not letting you in my space.
Right.
So it's very important. So tell folks where you are located in the country.
I am in Metro Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes, Hotlanta. And how is the market down? I love Hotlanta. How is that? I know how it is for my other life, all the industry, the other industry that I'm in. But how's business for you guys down there? Is there a lot of organizers down there?
Yeah, there are a good number of organizers, and there are a lot of houses. It's just, and Atlanta has so many pockets. Yes. And we say we're in Atlanta, but you could be
in Buckhead or
you're still in Atlanta.
Yeah, exactly. No, I've been there. Yeah.
For pockets, yeah. So many different levels of income and support that's needed. So you could be doing so many different things. Yeah.
How do I say this? Because I'm trying to figure that. So, has it been easier? Well, maybe I don't know if you would know the difference, but I just wonder, because it is a largely populated Black metropolitan city. It really is metropolitan. I mean, Atlanta is a metropolitan city. I mean, it's a full on at least Atlanta proper for sure. It's very much, and there's a lot of affluent Black and other Black. There's a lot of Black folks there. I was wondering if has it been easier for you to market yourself? Where I'm at, sometimes it's hard because it's like white folks over here, and this over here, and that over here. I was wondering for you, has it been relatively fine to market yourself?
Yeah, I feel like it has. There's some areas where I would not market myself. Okay. Because I know that it's a more of a white area. And so I'm not even gonna do this battle thing with you.
Right.
Plenty other houses.
No, those plenty. Plenty.
So I'm not even gonna do that. So I don't even go there.
Yeah, you watched my show a couple years ago. I've had some problems in that area, so it's just tough. It shouldn't be, folks. It shouldn't be, of course, but it happens sometimes. But there's plenty. But the point is, there's plenty of work to go around, folks. We are, as Americans in general, no matter what our race is or what our gender is or anything, no matter anything. Yes, we like stuff. We like to shop. We like to hold on to things. Right. I mean, I think it's a universal American idea, is that we just have a lot of stuff. So have you found that to be true for you also?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And businesses too. Like businesses have a lot of stuff. Doctor's office is it's just
files.
More stuff. Files, boxes full of stuff.
I know. No, it's funny. You go business for me, it's like. So there's I did a plastic surgery office. There was a bunch of plastic things, we'll just say that, laying around. It was they've been used in years, but just stored in these rooms and in space. So when she says stuff, it could be anything. It could just be anything, but also papers. Oh, papers, files, old papers.
Yes.
Woo!
I was in the doctor's office the other day, and I was supposed to be getting my blood drawn, but then I had to wait a minute. So he was like, just wait over here. And it was this room, and it just had stuff in it. I left my card in that room. I hope they can find it. I was like, this is a mess. Let me leave my card.
Good for you. That's right. And if he calls, I'm like, yes, that's how you do it, kids. That's how you do it. And sometimes they do. Sometimes they're like, I never thought of it before. And you're right. 'Cause I've done doctor's offices. I've actually done people's offices at doctor. I've done back rooms. I have. Yeah. It's they never think about it until someone. That's the thing about Oregon. That's so wonderful because I said it's on the show for the last 7 years. Just about everyone can use us from age 2 to 92, basically. Yeah. So when you brought business, I'm glad you brought it because business, residential, anything, there's a use for us somewhere. So it's kind of like a lot of folks don't know they don't know that there's somebody can help us with that. So that's our job.
Yeah.
Our job.
We love it.
We love it. Have you turned down any jobs?
Yes. Or I have subcontracted the job.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So garages, jobs that are too far
yes.
for me to travel to, I will either say no and refer someone else, or I will subcontract it.
I'm the same way. No, yeah, same. I'm in LA. Like Atlanta, there's somebody. I'm not driving my way out there.
Right.
Because I would love to, but this is not good. It just because this is a business and time is money and gas is money. Especially out in California.
Yes.
Yes, it is. Yeah. That's kind of cool. So you're part of NAPO first, and that was a great thing. So, what are a couple of positive things you've gotten out of NAPO?
Most recently, after 2020, George Floyd, let's just fast forward.
Yes.
Most recently, I've gotten a lot of great relationships that have been formed.
Good.
That started with just genuine contact and communication that has evolved into monthly calls that I don't have to initiate. And that leads to how can I, help you figure this out, or, could you share XYZ with me? So that's the biggest thing from NAPO most recently that I did not experience in the past when I first
started
NAPO.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, things evolve.
Education too.
And education too is really good too,
yeah.
Right? And so say that things evolve. We start from one place. And let's just be real. NAPO was started by white women back in the 80s. Many of them are wonderful. They were just pioneers in this business. I've learned a lot. And as we evolve and as we continue in life, things start to change. We have some great NAPO presidents, 7 of which have been on the show. So they're all wonderful. They're all wonderful women. And so I'm glad to see that it is. And I know that the last couple of years, they reached out to me and I've done a few things with them, but they've been trying to diversify of some sort. So hopefully that will continue, with that. But also, on another note, there is a place if you want to go for some networking and camaraderie and some sameness. That's NAPO. So messing with Black. So I was so happy to hear about them, this, they, those, whatever, them's. I was so happy. As you know, I've been invited several times to things with you guys. I love it. It's a whole other energy. So how did you find out about them?
Well, I'm a founding member.
Oh, hello. There you go. Well, member. Okay. Never mind. So she's my number. So I know she's not a member. I don't remember seeing that in any of my stuff. I'm like, how did I not know that you're one of the founding members?
Sorry about that. I forgot to put that in the bio.
Okay. So we should put it in the bio. Hello. Yeah, that's important. That's important. Yes.
It is.
Yes.
So there is a group of us called Ebony and Orderly.
Yes.
And it's 6 Black professionals here in Atlanta. And we would do a conference every year. We do speaking engagements primarily for the Black community around what organizing is and how it can help you achieve wellness and your self-care and your wellness and all of that. And we all had different niches. So it was great to be able to collaborate. When I talk about like subcontracting, like it would be one of the ladies that we could work together. So fast forward, people started finding out about Ebony and Orland, and like, we want to be part of Ebony and Orland. We're like, you can't, because like we're a business. Like you don't just come to the business.
Right.
So so that's how NAPO was formed, so that everybody, because what people really wanted was just that space, right? They weren't really wanting to come and work in our business. They really just wanted to be around other Black organizers. So we said, well, let's make that then. And
I'm glad you guys did. I'm glad you guys did. I know I love it. And so, and a couple of events I've done with you guys have been a lot of fun. And there's something about a space where you don't have to explain a lot sometimes, or have to say certain things that's unspoken. Not saying that we're all the same. We're all different. And it's also, the Black folks are all the same thing. We're not a monolith, we're the same thing. But there is some things that are just unspoken. I keep saying unspoken, just unspoken.
Right.
There's certain cultural things that we can all kind of do that's appreciated.
Right.
We don't have to hide it or censor it a little bit. In other situations, not saying NAPO, but other situations, period, at large, we're not allowed to be. We're trying to be, but not allowed to be. So that's why I like the networking aspect. I mean, I've had many of you on the show now, and hopefully I have more. It's just been a wonderful group. I think it's a good group.
Yeah.
It's good. But you tell people to come, it's basically you're telling them to come because it is a space for Black professional organizers, or you have other people of color too on there. Some other brown people there too, right? So catch about that a little bit.
So say that again.
Just talk about a little bit, because it's not. I mean, because it's Black mainly, but I also have other people of color as part.
Yes. So yeah, the name says Black, and really it means Black and brown, organizers of color. And we would love to have more organizers of color that may not identify as Black, because we know that our sisters and brothers are out there.
Yep.
We just gotta find them. As we find them, we're just trying to pull them in.
That's right.
And then we also started Allies of NAPO for white organizers who want to be able to support. So we started Allies of NAPO, and they meet with us 4 times a year when we do DEI trainings for our regular meetings. So it gives you that cross-cultural communication. It allows, time together, but it also still gives Black folks their safe space throughout the year.
So I love that.
I'm very excited for that as well.
That is very exciting. No, I love working within the system to help change the system.
Mm-hmm.
We need allies. Why not? I mean, I love that. I love that idea. I mean, some folks may say separate and to segregate and all that, but I like everybody to work together. And it's still, like you said, still the priority is the main group has a place to go.
Right.
Still, that's very important. And we need those spaces within the larger space. For some people, some genres and capacities, it may be a space for women. It may be a space for LGBTQIA. It may be a space for anybody who's other sometimes in a larger space.
Right.
We need to make sure that we are uplifting each other and supporting each other.
Right.
And your group does that. I've seen it. You guys do. You guys do that. That's so wonderful. Okay, so now somehow you've chosen though to keep both your professions, right? You're doing both, right? Mm-hmm. Like I do. We have several of them. But you have learned to, like I've also too, merge some of them. So you're looking about student organization. So let's talk about that for a little bit, because that is a very important thing. Kids need organization. And I mentioned earlier from 2 to 92, meaning that there are appropriate chores to teach kids at certain ages. There's a whole thing about it. I did a whole show on that once. But also just students, because they have a lot of pressure on them. They have a lot of homework sometimes, depending on what grade they're in. They have sports. They have this. So talk about student organization. Talk about that.
Yeah. That's my jam.
I love it.
So as an educator, I started doing a lot of reading about neuroscience and executive function skills and what that looks like for children and how to support them in the classroom. And then I started thinking, well, there's that's great that we do that in the classroom, but like then they go home and then they still can't bring the paper bag. So, how do we make sure that at home they have those, systems and routines and expectations in place? And that's how it kind of led me to student organizing. And then I have a 16-year-old. So watching him go from upper elementary to middle school, like each little section, each transition, they begin to need something else. And learning from my own mistakes of how I dealt with, how could you forget this again? Like, why didn't you go to that teacher? Like learning how to turn that, the way I speak about organization and time management, more of a coach, trying to keep him in the game of wanting to develop this habit versus the
Delivery is everything. Delivery is everything. It is. Delivery and language are very important, and especially to kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I say kids, that's 18 and under. Unless I'm saying I say kids, that's 18 and under.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. So there's a lot of, I believe it's a lot of early childhood development. There's a lot of science that goes into how to speak to kids, what to give them. So so do you do student organizing? Do you have a certain age group you do, or is it throughout?
Mainly I work with upper elementary through college.
Okay.
Last week I was speaking with a group of graduate students on, how to keep up with everything now at this point, and how they can't drop the ball, but at the same time they're working and in school, and so it just depends. I see more elementary kids when they also have some other type of learning or attention difference, like dyslexia or ADHD.
Yeah.
They seem to need more support before middle school than some of your other young students.
So what is one thing? So that's how this will do. Okay, for each section, what is one thing that is a challenge? So for upper elementary, what is there a common theme that could be a challenge for them for upper elementary? So we're talking before middle school.
Mm-hmm. For them, it is time. So everything is so digitized.
Okay.
And we don't have analog clocks up in homes, or
you
probably have them at a school. But if it broke, they didn't replace it. So
yeah. Yes.
So and so kids stop being able to feel time, because when you like feel that second hand, minute hand moving around, you actually that's something that happens inside of you, right? Yes. It produces a small little healthy sense of urgency.
Yes.
But we stop using those clocks. And so they don't know when you say you've got 5 minutes in that shower, or you've got 2 more minutes and we got to go. They have no clue what you're talking about.
That's very interesting. You're right.
Uh-huh.
Side note, because I remember having a discussion with somebody a couple years ago about making the bed. Mm-hmm. And there were people who were saying that their kids didn't know how to make a bed. Because they just no one had showed them. Mm-hmm. And they just assumed, why do you not make a bed? And they watched them do it in a way that wasn't, it almost kind of made sense in a weird way, but it wasn't the right way to make a bed. Obviously, the bed wasn't made. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of like, we have to kind of stop. We have to sometimes we have to actually really, because times have changed, we got to actually show them.
Right.
It's kind of, do they write cursive anymore at school? I like all that kind of stuff. It's like there's things that are changing that are, like you said, so digital and digitized. Mm-hmm. It's like, do they even know? You say, go play outside. If I like, do what? How do we play outside? Or,
show me.
You know what I mean? It's like all these things. I'm thinking we take for granted because we know what it means because we had less stuff, but like they may not know what it means.
It's true.
I like that. Now we'll say for middle school, well, I guess middle school and high school, what do you find is a challenge for them?
For them, it is the working memory and like offloading stuff, right? So I call it making thinking visible. So writing down somewhere in front of you what it is that you need to do. So if you need to go in the morning and see the chemistry teacher, that you write that on a sticky note, put it on your device so that when you open it up, oh, I need to see that chemistry teacher. Now you might not have had a chemistry teacher until fourth period if you missed them in the morning, but at least you know it was something you supposed to say.
Yeah, exactly. No, I love sticky notes, so I live by them. So
Yeah. Dry erase boards in the house, in the
Yes.
bathrooms. If you're trying to get them to remember what steps to do things, leave them notes on the refrigerator, all of that.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Well, as you can see, dry erase boards. Yes, kids. That's my latest one of something I'm working on right now. So, my point right there. If you're listening to this, I'm pointing. Yeah, it makes it. No, seriously, it does. And I have sticky notes that have lines in them. So I'm just letting you know, folks. I believe what she says. I believe, and I'm old. I still do it. It works for me. Okay, so now for the college students, is it split in two? Is it the college student that's in college and the college student about to leave, or do you find something that's similar at both?
It's similar at both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
For them, a lot of our time is taking a actual weekly schedule and like time blocking and figuring out, like, a lot of them have stopped doing things that they enjoy because they just don't know how to fit it in, and you have to almost like what you said, like show them how to make a bed. Like you got to show them, like, okay, this is what you have to do, but you still have these pockets of time, and instead of getting on Netflix or TikToking and things, you can.
You just said TikToking and things. Okay, yes, that's right, kids. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. She said TikToking.
That's probably what they say when I start talking like that.
I love it. I love it.
That you can begin to go running again, or work out the way you used to, because a lot of them, because they weren't able to manage their time before, they begin to drop some of those things, and I feel like that affects. It's a whole nother story, but their mental health, and why we see so many young people just having issues with their mental health. So it's because they don't know how to manage their time and be able to keep doing the things that they enjoy while they're doing the things that they also have to do.
I noticed that this generation, which is Gen Z and now coming up Gen Alpha, they are trying to find this more so than we did. They're trying to find the work-life balance. They're trying to find I want to do what feels good in a job situation in life. It's expensive to go to school, which I wish I have a whole. That's a whole other show. I can't even get into that right now. But how I feel about that. And I'm sure you as an educator also probably speak on that another show too at some point, about what some school systems have to go through. There's a lot going on when it comes to education, which is our number one thing we should be focused on for young people.
Yes.
Education. What they say, education is the one that you can't take away from you.
Right.
Because once you have education, you can't take it away from you.
Right.
It's so important. It really is. So that's very cool that you're able to actually you're starting to meld, you put the two together and say, okay, how we focus, do speaking engagements, focus on the kids, the students. So I'll say kids too for college, because I have my daughters in their 30s, so I'm old. So they're, I'm sure, so they're kids too. They're in college. And also for us older folks go back to college. I went back to college in my 40s, and it was tough. I was like, study. I studied 20 years. I was like, I had to learn how to study. But luckily, it was what I like to do, so I was able to do it. But being an organizer, because I was an organizer when I went back to school, so actually it helped me. And I have friends who are organizers. I asked their advice too. So another thing, when she said business coach, some of us coaches have our own coaches. Some of us organizers have people that mentor us and we can go to. Like she just said, very important, right?
Right. Yeah. And NAPO has been that for me. NAPO and NAPO have been that for me in different ways.
Yeah, that's some great stuff. So You've been in business how long now as an organizer?
Ooh, okay, maybe 8 years.
Okay, so how's it going for you? We've had a crazy 2 years, the whole COVID crap.
Mm-hmm.
It's still going on. The pandemic's, I mean, none of my coaches turned up positive. Everybody's positive in my life right now. It's been crazy out here in California. So it's affected, all my clients have it, so I haven't been able to organize the last month. So it's really hindering my business in terms of in-person business.
Mm-hmm.
But I still enjoy the business. I enjoy everything. So for you, 8 years in, enjoying it still, looking forward to new stuff. I mean, what's going on for you?
Well,
Good
glad that you
announcement.
asked. I said, well, I'm glad that you asked.
Yeah, that's what I said. My ears are ready. My little
Okay.
ears are ready.
So I actually, okay, organizing, yes. Right now I've focused more on speaking.
Good.
That's just my primary, is speaking for the most part. I don't have clients right now because I have opened my own micro school for young learners, and supporting them in their time management and organization skills is like a part of the program. And so the school opened in September. It's called the Ferguson School. And so that's why I only can focus on speaking, because right now I can't take any clients while I am getting the school off the ground.
Good for you. Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's good. See, and that's the thing. We can turn, obviously, I have this show and I have other things. We can turn organization is so vast and wide and broad.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not calling her broad. Broad. That it's complete. I know. That it's completely. She has this micro school that does this for students. And like that's what's so amazing about this business. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
If anybody wants to join that or sign up or whatever the thing is, where can they go to find that?
At www.thefergusonschool.org. You can also donate to support as well. At that link on the website. Yep.
I'll put that in the info. I'm gonna end with that. Okay. Okay. That's good. Good for you. I mean, okay, wait. So have you always been a go-getter?
Yes.
Okay. I was like, you sound like me. Like,
you're always done so much. I was telling my son this the other day. My mom passed. It's been less than a year ago. And her last words to me, she was in the hospital and like we were trying to figure out what was going on with her. And her last words to me were, I shouldn't laugh. Okay, so what's the plan?
That was her last words. That's hilarious.
Because she knew I would have to have a plan.
See, even out of tragedy, there's hilarious stuff going on. I love that. That's hilarious. What's the plan?
Yeah. So yes, I have always, just wanted to serve. And I think that's what I love about organizing, and I love about education, is that it's about serving. And it makes a difference. Like it makes a difference in a person's everyday lifestyle. Like it makes a difference.
You are affecting positive change in the world. So yes.
Thank you.
That's how I look at it. For sure. Well, Miss Tiffany, thanks for being on the show. And so we have that one link, which is the fergusonschool.org. Any other things you want to promote? It's your time to promote them.
Well, I do have an online school on Teachable, Simple Organization, where you can get courses about executive function, supporting executive function and organization in your students' lives. I have a free course just for students with my top 3 tips to help them get organized on the Teachable platform.
And of course, you can follow me. We're all James Lott Jr. is sold at James Lott Jr. on all social media platforms, including that TikTok she was talking about. I'm on there also. I give organizing tips on my show, how to get super organized in under a minute. So I do that on there also. But I am on that TikTok thing, girl. I'm some like weird TikTok star. They say I'm too old, but I'm doing it anyway. I don't care. I'm doing it anyway. For the old guys, I'm doing it. And this show, again, is everywhere. You can look for the show. It's the SOS show at James Lott Jr. There's not only her, there's a bunch of great organizers on this program. I love doing the show. They all have different perspectives. You'll give you some great knowledge. So please check those out. Share it with anybody who needs to hear this. Everybody needs to see this. Pass it on. Pass it on. You tell two friends, and they tell two friends, and so on, like the old commercial back in the 80s. I'm James Lott Jr. Please be careful out there. Please, please, please be careful out there. That variant's going around, so just be very careful. Have compassion. Get organized. Your life will be better. Trust us. It will be better. And we'll see you next time.